Today on Here for the Right Reasons, Susanna Summers from Bachelor Data talks to us about why Bachelor follower counts are dropping and Love is Blind is going up.
So there's a ton of reasons why follower counts are going down. Are people watching these TV shows less? Absolutely. There's less people watching Love is Blind than they did at the beginning. Are there less people watching Bachelor? Absolutely. And that's going to happen for any TV show.
Plus, Dean said he would use his brother's sperm to impregnate Kaylin, and Rachel Recchia opens up about her breast reduction surgery as Clayton gets flirty with Gabby on Instagram. We've got that plus so much more on today's Here for the Right Reasons. Hey guys, Christina Garibaldi here with Us Weekly Deputy Editor Sarah Heron, and welcome to Here for the Right Reasons. Hi Sarah, how are you?
Hi Christina, I'm good. How are you? I can't wait to talk about Dean and Kaylin.
So they are like dominating the news lately, and for not the right reasons. Before we get into it, let's see what you guys had to say about last week's show. Catherine says, I think The Bachelor needs Chris Harrison back. He is the one who made the show, and the Bachelor franchise lost a lot of fans after he was let go. I suppose people are not allowed to have opinions anymore, or some people get offended or their feelings get hurt. They need to grow up and put on their big girl or big boy shorts and get on with their lives. Well, yeah, everybody is allowed to have an opinion, but I think Chris Harrison may have taken it a little too far.
Yeah, but you know what? There are always going to be people who want Chris Harrison back, and that's their prerogative. They can go listen to his podcast. It was actually a very interesting episode with Sean and Catherine Lowe last week, where he talked about how he felt like Mike Fleiss pit Sean and Chris against each other, because when they had Sean host that After Paradise show, it was after Chris Harrison accepted the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire gig. And even though it was All in the Family at ABC, according to Chris Harrison, Mike Fleiss didn't want him hosting Millionaire, seemingly, likes to be in control, a la Caitlin Bristowe Dancing with the Stars. And Sean was like, they told me you were okay with it. Sorry, dude. I also was bad at that job. And they laughed about it.
So strange. It does seem like Mike Fleiss had his hands in a little bit of everything. It'll be interesting to see what changes happen going forward. But like you said before, let's get into the news. Dean and Kaylin, they're making headlines again with Dean saying that he would consider using his brother's sperm to impregnate Kaylin if they decide to have children. He said during their Help We Suck at Being Newlyweds podcast, I've always thought I'm sterile. I still have a little inkling inside of me that thinks I am. She noted, Kaylin noted that her fiance's sperm was okay when he checked it 8 years ago, but if something's changed since then, they're willing to adopt. He said that he's considering his options before, that he was considering his options even before he met Kaylin. He said, I was thinking I could take, and this is kind of weird to say now that it's attached to a person, but that we could take one of my brother's donations. She really wasn't surprised by his idea, saying, I knew you were going to say that. I was like, I don't want to say it because it's weird, but I knew you were going to say that. Which brother? He joked that they can go into a room for 30 minutes and, do whatever. She said that she's not having sex with them. He later clarified his statement, saying that's always been my plan for if I'm sterile. So if I'm sterile, that's what I always imagine myself doing because their DNA is close to mine.
I cannot decide if Dean just says this stuff to say it at this point. We're at a point where everything was always about marriage. He would make these comments about engagement rings, about the truck, about all this stuff. So now we're talking about babies, and he's saying something very out there. Yes. And I don't know if maybe he really does have this fear of being sterile. So he started this plan in his head and he just word vomits it out. Or if he's just saying it to shock us.
Maybe a little bit of both, but yeah, you're so right. They went from, we're never getting married. Now we're married. Now we're engaged, planning this wedding. We weren't planning on having kids. And now my brother may have need to impregnate my soon-to-be wife. It's all very strange.
It is all very strange. Teach their own.
Yes.
I look forward to the day Dean and Kaylin do have kids, and then the kid Googles them and says, am I yours or my uncle's?
Exactly. It's going to be some awkward Thanksgiving dinners.
Yeah, 100%. Well, moving on. In a personal essay, Rachel Recchia opened up about the journey that led her to her recent breast reduction. She said she's been thinking about the surgery for 10 years, and after the surgery, her body felt different, and she hasn't had any back pain. She said that there was a discomfort that came with joining the Bachelor franchise when it came to her appearance and the clothes. And she wrote, this is an essay for today.com, I believe. When you're dating 32 guys at the same time, self-confidence is a must. And sometimes it felt hard to shine while wearing clothes that decidedly weren't me. Stylist Carrie Fedman and I joked that I was giving Mother of the Bride during rose ceremonies in my high neck gowns. He was great and was so patient with helping me the best I could. When the episodes played back and people made the same jokes online, it didn't seem funny anymore. Throughout the process, I was reminded that my life didn't have to be this way. The other women on the show didn't have the same problems with their chest that I did. She added, I've always been transparent about the other cosmetic work I've had done, like fillers and Botox. This is no different. I'm supportive of women who want to change something to make themselves happy, even if it is only an aesthetic. If it improves your life and well-being and happiness, I'm 100% behind that.
Totally. I mean, if it makes you happy, it's your life, you do what you want. But I feel like when her season was airing, a lot of people were very critical of her fashion choices and always obviously comparing her to Gabby, being like, oh, I love Gabby's look. And I don't really like Rachel. So I'm sure it definitely got into her head quite a bit.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think the whole two Bachelorettes concept and them being compared and pitted against each other was a really interesting thing because the two of them were so vocal about how they loved having each other and felt supported by each other. And this narrative was kind of put on them by fans, by viewers, by media, by whoever. Mm-hmm. But it's just like human nature to like look at side by side, and clothes was kind of like an easy, transparent thing to be like, oh, I like that dress. I don't like that dress, not meaning it necessarily with a deeper meaning. But if I was Rachel, that would 100% get to me. And I think I mostly saw comments of people like joking about the stylist because he's been the stylist forever. And like, where did he find this clothes? Some of Gabby's clothes too. And just over the years, it's kind of got a little wonky over there. But no, I totally feel for her. I think that would be really difficult. I mean, they're both gorgeous, gorgeous girls, but I'm glad that she did this and is open about it. Cause I think that's a huge part too. Like do whatever you want. But I think if you have a following, especially of young people, being honest about what it is you did is super important. And what she wrote was beautiful. So
yeah, it really was. And she seems really happy with her decision. So good for her. And hopefully, she feels more comfortable and confident. So, and like you said, great that she's opening up about it. Well, Sean and Catherine Lowe are also in the news yet again this week. And this is so sad. Their loved bull mastiff puppy, Gus, they had to rehome their dog because of the safety of their family. Now, Sean wrote on Instagram, he said, you all know how much I love that dog. And he was such a great dog, great with kids, well trained, and he was so full of love. However, he showed a couple instances of resource guarding in the past when he snapped at and bit their daughter, Mia. He said, we did everything in our power to keep it from happening again. But one night several weeks ago, our son Samuel bent down to pet Gus and Gus bit him on the side of the head. They said that, their family did forge a special bond with their family pet, but rehoming him was the best solution after he bit Samuel. He wrote, the result was a trip to the ER and a staple in his head. So as much as I love that dog, I have to put my kids first, but Gus is in a great home and we'll get to still see him occasionally. By the way, I died a little on the inside. He further explained that his kids have fully healed from the incidents. And like we said, he found a great home with a trainer. So it's, it's so sad, but you got to put the safety of your family first.
No, totally. I think it's also really hard because people like Sean and Catherine, who are very beloved and have a lot of followers because they've been a part of this franchise and this world for over a decade. They post pictures of their kids those kids are so freaking cute. And obviously they post pictures of their dog. And then, people are going to be like, oh, where's the dog? Where's the dog? And it's like this weird balance of like, what do you owe people? What do you feel comfortable addressing? This, I feel like people might have opinions about, but at the end of the day, like you said, like you have to put the safety of your kids first. Sounds like they obviously care about their dog a lot and made sure the dog was going to be okay too. So, just always rooting for the Lows. It's hard to root against them. Even when Sean was annoying during Zach's season, not his fault, but the way they kept putting him in, sir, you're rooting for these people. Those kids are freaking adorable.
They really are. And they're pretty much one of maybe 2 or 3 Bachelor success stories. And, they really have, he's the only one that, besides Rachel and Matt, but the only one that he's actually picked at the end and they're still together, like rightfully so. But like we said, safety of the family always comes first. So hopefully they'll still spend some time with Gus. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to our Bachelor Nation talk. And you actually had an interesting conversation with Susanna Summers. She's from Bachelor Data. If you don't follow her on Instagram, you definitely should because it's really fascinating.
Yes. And you and I have talked, I feel like, so much in the last year or so about how many followers people are getting. And the franchise really went from having this problem of people coming on the show for followers to now I feel like the pool of people who want to be on the show is going to get less and less because the people wanting followers aren't necessarily getting them. And the people who have written off the show because it was for followers have written off the show. So I feel like the pool is getting smaller, and it's just fascinating part of being on a dating show, being an influencer, being on reality TV. And Love is Blind has kind of taken over, I feel like, as the most popular dating show at the time, something you could argue The Bachelor had. So Susanna is a whiz with numbers, and I asked her all about it. We had a very long chat on the Here for Reasons podcast, but here's what she had to say about the difference between Bachelor follower counts and Love is Blind going on right now.
Love is Blind versus The Bachelor. What is something that stands out to you as a difference as far as follower counts are concerned right now?
Yeah, so I think people will look at follower counts, like even this season, and then they'll see, the number of followers that Marshall has versus his own cousin from the Bachelor franchise.
Right.
Or they'll look at, Zach from this last season, the previous Bachelor, and they'll be like, oh, well, Bachelor is failing because Love is Blind gets so many more followers. But what I think is really interesting, that the piece that people don't see as much is comparing season to season. Because if you look back at season 1, just at the point of the finale, so it was like the day after the reunion dropped, Lauren and Cameron in season 1 had almost 5 million followers. And then Cameron had 1.9 million followers.
Okay.
Then when you go to season 2 and you compare who had the most followers, it was Deepti and Natalie. Okay. 700,000, 600,000.
Okay.
The next season 3, Raven and Natalie, 300,000, 260,000. And now this season, there's a little bit of an uptick because this season has been way more than season 3 was. But overall, the cast is on average less than the previous seasons as well.
Okay.
Tiffany, at the day after the finale, was at 428,000 followers. And then Marshall was at 424,000 followers for the day after the reunion. So it's going down as well. And that is, on the bigger picture, is an Instagram versus TikTok issue. So if you look at, there's some data from Cloudflare, which is a website that can measure how many times a website or an app is accessed in the world. They've actually looked at the top domains in the entire world globally. So Netflix, Amazon, Google, YouTube, et cetera, all of those. At the end of 2020, so the fourth quarter of the year, TikTok had already passed Instagram. And then by a year later, so the end of 2021, TikTok was the most visited website or app in the world.
Wow.
Instagram wasn't even on the top 10 list. And that was ahead of Amazon, Google, YouTube, all of those apps and all of those websites. So, and a lot of people will hear this and be like, oh, well, TikTok, okay, it's just 1 in 2 Americans use it. But when you think about it, people only have so many hours in a day. Part of that time goes to sleeping. Part of that time goes to work or school or whatever's going on. Part of that goes to family, eating, etc. And then you only have so many hours for entertainment. So when time is being taken away from watching TV and people are instead using TikTok, that's why you're seeing, in general, TV shows are seeing less and less viewers over time. So the Bachelor franchise, for example, we have data on that, the Nielsen ratings ever since the show came out. When Bachelorette started, I think the average number of Instagram followers, the average number of viewers each season was in like the 6 millions or 8 millions. It was something crazy like that. And every single year after that, and this was long before any of the controversies lately, long before Chris Harrison left 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Each season would see less and less viewers. Hundreds of thousands of viewers would drop off each season. And that's just because more TV shows, social media became a thing. All of these things started happening that pulls people's attention away. And then on top of that, there are more TV shows every year than ever. So there's a ton of reasons why follower counts are going down. Are people watching these TV shows less? Absolutely. There's less people watching Love is Blind than they did at the beginning. Are there less people watching Bachelor? Absolutely. And that's going to happen for any TV show.
It's so interesting. I mean, she made such a good point that the season 1 contestants of Love is Blind had millions of followers. And now coming off this past season, it's hundreds of thousands of followers. So even that is going down. I guess people just aren't as interested in these influencer likes or, just moving over to TikTok.
Right. The TikTok of it all is so interesting to me. And then again, I think it's just so much, right? Like some people probably, you and I are watching both of those shows, but I'm hitting a wall of how many people I want to follow on Instagram. Because still follow those people from seasons ago. So it's like, do you unfollow them, start following the new ones? Like it's just oversaturated. So it's very interesting.
No, for me, this season of The Bachelor, the only people that I really wanted to follow was like the winners. And I actually don't even know if I do follow them because I think I follow Katie and Zach. That was pretty much it.
I know. I think I started following Zach. I started following Zach when they announced him because I like to see like the interest, and I remember watching with Clayton's like growth and how like it was really slow. And then I think I followed Gabby and Katie like the day of the finale to see if they posted anything, and that's it. Like I don't think I follow Ariel, and not that I don't like her. I think I followed Charity because I wanted to see what they were going to post that. But even we got into that about how Charity has a lower follower count, and it's interesting. There's certainly patterns, and if you're interested in numbers, you got to listen to Susanna do her thing because it's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. She just like spits them out. It's nuts. It really is. It's so good. All right. Well, speaking of social media, let's get into which Bachelor Nation star caught our attention on social media. And I think a lot of people were talking about this picture that Gabby posted. So she captioned this picture. Clayton was supposed to propose to me in this dress. So it's this beautiful black dress. She's giving all these sultry poses, but Clayton commented saying, bring the dress to Scottsdale this weekend. I got a lot of responses, a lot of likes, and a lot of people were like, what's going on here?
No, it's so good. Gabby is beautiful, like we were just saying, and she's just like so funny, like, you know, doing the asterisk in Clayton's name, but clearly it's not like she hasn't blocked or any bad blood. Like he commented quick, and you know, Clayton, I feel like, I don't know him obviously, but just from the time I have talked to him, I feel like he probably was like, I want to say this, and like, you know, but like this is too far, and then like wants to get involved. It just made me laugh thinking about what was going through his head, and then her getting that comment, and then Rachel commenting like, haha. And even like you think we talk about how like, is The Bachelor relevant anymore? But then you see something like this happen, and like Clayton's comment has over 10,000 likes, which is no small like feat on social media. So people do still care and watch. It's just in different ways, I think. And this made me laugh, and it's crazy.
I love it. I think it was fantastic. And like, you have to remember, you know, a few weeks back when Clayton and Rachel had that video together, a lot of people were like, wait, what's going on here? Because they left on really bad terms. Like this was terrible.
And Clayton and Susie still like hang out and troll each other. So like his like top three, as angry as they were at him, Rose, Ceremony from Hell, I love all three of you. They're all like in a good place where they can poke fun at it. It's kind of fun.
I think it's really fantastic, but I don't know. Bring the dress to Scottsdale. Wonder if she did.
I know. Now I'm like, does Clayton need to end up with one of these three? Like, I don't need it.
I don't hate it either. I mean, maybe he made the wrong choice. Who knows? But I love to see. I love that everybody's on good terms. We love to see that. All right. Well, that is it for this week's episode of Here for the Right Reasons. Please let us know in the comments, should Clayton and Gabby get back together? Give it another try. Who knows? Stranger things have happened in Bachelor Nation world. And then make sure you listen to the Here for the Right Reasons podcast if you want to listen to the full chat with Susanna. It's definitely a must listen, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
For more news, content, and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.